Our story starts with a bomb planted on a bridge, ready to explode. Then, we switch to a reporter who informs us that the terrorists had warned the police beforehand, and luckily, no citizens were harmed due to the police's quick response. The citizens are horrified, expressing their disbelief that the crazy terrorist managed to escape, and now they are determined to uncover his identity. Out of nowhere, a skilled marksman lands on a crashed car, shattering it into pieces. The police urgently command everyone to open fire. He effortlessly jumps from one car to another, evading everyone, and then reveals a grenade, causing a massive explosion. Next, he holds the police commander hostage at gunpoint, demanding the release of prisoners from a nearby prison within 30 minutes, along with a vehicle containing $3 billion as ransom. He warns them that the bridge will vanish completely if they don't comply, emphasizing his outrageous demands. Suddenly, a helicopter approaches them. We then glimpse into his thoughts as he reminisces about his first friendships and the promises he made to himself. He realizes that he has become the world's most dangerous terrorist. We then flash back to 2 years ago, in a classroom where he is surrounded by a crowd of students being coerced into facing a bully against his will. They urge him not to be afraid and to make sure he does it right, as they have a bet of $30,000 riding on him. He expresses his lack of confidence and desire to leave, but they start bullying him into going through with it. He ponders which option to choose: rock, paper, or scissors. Ultimately, he decides on scissors and emerges victorious. Crowd erupts in celebration, proclaiming that they knew he was the right person, the winner. Amidst the chaos, he carefully slips away to return to class. We are introduced to our protagonist, Min, a timid high schooler who constantly finds himself being forced into unwanted situations because he struggles to say no. He always finds himself being taken advantage of by others, constantly being sent out to run errands and do chores. He used to hope that if he were taller, he might have the courage to say no. Unfortunately, he's been stuck at the height of 160 centimeters, and it doesn't seem like he's growing any taller. Kids at school always call on him to play rock, paper, scissors on their behalf because he's really good at it and he can never say no. But there's another reason why he excels at the game. He has this psychic ability called the eyes that detect misfortune. As the name suggests, it's an ability that shows him which path is most likely to bring him bad luck. During the quick rounds of the game, he uses this ability to choose the path that will lead him to victory without any misfortune. His ability marks the options that would bring him bad luck with a purple haze. He doesn't have to worry about being unlucky or losing by avoiding those options. He even uses his ability to ace tests. It's simple because there's no place more unlucky than an exam paper. A purple fog appears over the wrong ones whenever he looks at the answer choices. Choosing those would bring him misfortune. So, he always goes for the options without the purple haze. This is his favorite way to use his ability, although it doesn't work for essays or questions that require in-depth explanations. It mainly works for multiple choice questions. Then we see him at home, where life is easy. Lilia is the Russian housekeeper his father brought here 10 years ago as a surprise gift. She's a tough lady, but she's a jack of all trades and can fix anything. Both his father and Ilya refuse to tell him what they did before coming here. She's pretty perfect, except for one thing: she can't cook. She asks him if he passed the test today. As a reward for a special occasion, she offers to cook anything he wants. However, he responds with uncertainty, saying he doesn't know. She takes offense, thinking he's calling her a terrible cook. In an attempt to convince him, she playfully stabs an apple with a knife and tries to feed it to him, but he refuses out of fear. She then suggested eating instead, mentioning that she needed to go shopping anyway. He declines the offer. Frustrated, she mutters to herself about how he blew off a date with a beautiful woman like her. She believes he should be thrilled to go out with her. Determined, she hugs him tightly, convincing him to go out with her. They head to the department store for some shopping. While there, she spots some beer on sale and excitedly rushes towards it. However, this sudden movement startles him, sending a shiver down his spine. He quickly runs upstairs, explaining that he prefers to be on a higher floor rather than the ground floor. She watches him run and wonders what's happening, telling him to calm down. As they walk around the store, he notices that everything seems to be in shades of purple. He wonders if this is some sort of bad omen or if there's a problem with the building. Suddenly, he hears a loud crack and looks up to see a massive crack on the roof. Panicked, he rushes to the nearest security guard and urgently tells him to evacuate the building, explaining that it will collapse soon. The security guard questions the source of his information and refuses to evacuate without solid proof. He also mentions that the ceiling crack has been there for years, and if it were going to collapse, it would have happened already, giving the security guard a stern look. Unsure of what to do, he ponders his options. The scene then cuts to a flashback. 11 years ago, with rain falling, we witness a young boy on his knees, tears streaming down his face, desperately calling out for his mother amidst the rubble. She reassures him that she's fine and urges him to run away. However, he refuses to leave her side, determined to rescue her. Suddenly, she places her hand over his mouth, and a sinister purple aura surrounds her. With a sense of urgency, she implores him to flee. Overwhelmed with fear, he stumbles away, his mind filled with questions. Why did his mother transform into a monstrous purple creature? Just as he starts to regain his composure, tragedy strikes. A massive boulder crushes his mother. Returning to the present, our protagonist reflects on this traumatic event, realizing that it taught him a valuable lesson. Humans are powerless when faced with insurmountable adversity. This current situation mirrors that same helplessness. He ponders his own limitations, feeling like someone unable to refuse others or stand up for himself. No, he thinks, I can't do it. I can't save people. All I gotta do is get out to here. Before he can finish his thought, he gets a tap on the back of his head. Turns out it's Lilia, wondering why he suddenly bolted. She thought something was up, but like always, he's just not feeling right and thinks they should head back home. Being familiar with him, she asks if he saw something with his special ability and if that's why he's acting strange. He tells her the building is glowing purple and about to crumble any second. He teases her, saying maybe, just maybe, the universe is just telling her not to make that call. She asks if she should help him evacuate everyone. He says it's pointless, since no one would believe him. They should focus on saving themselves instead. She wonders if it's because this situation reminds him of what happened to his mom. And he reassures her that this time will be different because he's got her. Upon arriving at the island, he shouts to see if anyone is there, hoping for a response. Unfortunately, there is no reply. Determined to explore further, he makes his way upstairs and is met with a horrifying sight, the lifeless bodies of a whole family. The scene cuts back to the kids on the boat, anxiously hoping to encounter friendly people after being isolated for so long. Suddenly, Bota hears splashing in the water and spots a figure that appears to be in need of help. Meanwhile, their dad continues to search the area for any valuable items and stumbles upon a mysterious green box containing explosives. As he investigates further, he notices a massive hole in the wall, indicating an external attack. Suddenly, he hears a loud shout from Lita and immediately dives into action to find out what's wrong. The kids inform him that someone is in the water and needs their help. Looking out, he sees the mysterious figure, but his fear takes over as he realizes it's not a person. The figure disappears underwater, and a large shadow emerges from below. Sensing the imminent danger, he rushes to his kids and holds them tightly. A gigantic creature breaches the ocean, devouring the ship with its mouth. Trembling in fear, they desperately cling to a piece of debris, staring into the creature's humanoid eyes. The monster strikes the ship, causing them to fall into the water. After a few minutes, they find themselves back at the remote building they had discovered earlier. The father holds his kids close, checking to make sure they are okay. Bota appears exhausted, but still breathing, while Lita is unconscious from the stress. Worried for her well-being, they shake her awake, and she regains consciousness. Relieved that both kids are fine, the father's joy is short-lived as he notices his own injury, a steel rod piercing through him. Assuring Bota that he is okay, he emphasizes the need to escape as the monster is still lurking. He instructs Bota to take Lita and run for safety, promising to follow closely behind. Bota dutifully obeys his father's command and leads Lita to higher ground. Meanwhile, the father is left alone, struggling to remove the steel from his body. The pain causes him to let out a piercing scream. Suddenly, he notices something peculiar. A monstrous creature is slowly making its way towards him, its eyes meeting his own. However, there is something strange about the creature's skin. It burns upon contact with sunlight. As it draws nearer, the creature becomes fixated on the steel embedded in the father's body. In response, the father reaches for his sword. Surprisingly, the monster turns away, its gaze shifting towards Bota and Lita. It grins wickedly and chases after them, prompting the father to shout in panic, urging them